These guys had no idea they had messed with a ruthless, cold-blooded killer. And the worst part? They had already crossed a line they could never take back. Now, what were they supposed to do? A few days earlier, a thug had made a move on a woman right in front of her husband. He sat down beside her, shamelessly staking his claim. At first, Mike ignored him, but when he noticed the guy's eyes roaming all over his wife, his patience began to wear thin. Mike clenched his fists, holding back his anger. But the thug pushed his luck too far, grabbing the woman's hand right in front of her husband. That was it. Mike's fury boiled over as he slowly reached for his knife, ready to strike. His wife quickly pulled her hand away, signaling Mike not to act impulsively. She knew her husband wasn't an ordinary man. If he made a move, this thug wouldn't leave the place alive. Just as the punk kept running his mouth, oblivious to the danger he was in, his older brother suddenly stepped in and pulled him back. The older man sincerely apologized for his brother's behavior. Mike watched them leave without saying much. He hadn't given these lowlifes a second thought. But what he didn't realize was that sparing them would soon bring disaster upon his wife. Later that night, as Mike and his wife hit the road after a meal, an ambush caught them completely off guard. Their car spun out of control and crashed into a tree. In his dazed state, Mike could have sworn he saw that same thug's face again. Not long after, the reckless punk drove their car back to his gang's hideout. The crime boss was furious. His younger brother's repeated recklessness made him want to rip him apart on the spot. But after hearing that the kid had done it all for him, he sighed in frustration and let him handle things his way. Mike eventually regained consciousness, only to find his wife tied up and helpless. Rage surged through him. He wanted nothing more than to wipe out every single one of these criminals. Before he could react, a massive, muscular man stepped into the room. Before Mike could figure out what was happening, the man pressed a knife to his wife's throat.